You're watching Meet the Movie Press, and coming up, we're going to be talking about the Men in Black spinoff, new films from Steven Soderbergh and Wes Anderson, a whole bunch more of the Deadpool 2 trailer. Oh my God, stay tuned!
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
Good morning, party people!
I can't actually believe he just did that.
Jump in the house.
What? You never seemed whiter.
You're watching Meet the Movie Press.
Good morning.
I'm your host, Jeff Sneider, editor-in-chief of the Tracking Board, tracking-board.com, at the Sneider on Twitter and social media platforms everywhere. With me, as always,
Simon Thompson. You can find me at Showbiz Simon on Twitter and Instagram, and there's a Facebook page. This is Simon Thompson.
What's up, buddy? How you been, buddy?
Yeah, good. Insanely busy this week. I kind of wish that I hadn't said I'd work.
Insanely busier.
Insanely busy.
Insane.
No, insanely busy. No, I agreed to work a couple of days this week after I came back from Austin, and I'm working the weekend, and I'll be honest with you, I'm absolutely exhausted.
But, buddy, you were exhausted last week, so I can't give you this
2
week
nights
off.
without sleep. So I'm on it. I'm okay. I'm fine.
We need you on your A game today.
2 nights without sleep.
Because we have a lot of groundwork to cover.
Yeah, busy week.
Nothing like gigantic. Nothing major.
No, but kind of stuff that's like
a steady stream of
a steady stream.
Important stuff.
At our age, a steady stream is really good.
Exactly.
Healthy, I would say. A healthy stream. Where do you want to start?
I by the way, I used to work with a guy. I'm not going to name names, but I used to work with a guy, and you know, when we'd find ourselves in the bathroom, you would hear his stream. He was a little bit older guy.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to those days.
Does it? Okay, I'm not going to name anyone.
It was like a 3-minute pee. It was like a whole thing.
Krustin Joel? No? Okay, cool. Just saying.
Kroll's a strong, virile young man. All right, let's talk about Men in Black.
Let's do it. Now, okay, so this news came out sort of middle of the week, wasn't it? That we knew that Chris Hemsworth was had discussions, was going to be signing on, and we were kind of wondering, and we said on this show, I think we were one of the first people to actually say it, that it would be really good to have a female co-host, and a number of the names that we bandied around were African-American females.
Oh, I mean, that's what we knew that they were looking for. Yeah.
And who've they given? Tessa Thompson. Re-teaming, obviously, from doing phenomenally well together in Thor Ragnarok.
Now, did you suggest this? Was this?
Well, I believe it was one of the names I suggested, because also I suggested Letitia Graham and
Letitia Wright.
Yeah. Letitia Wright. Sorry, I know someone called Letitia Graham. Letitia Wright. And, I thought it was going to go someone of that ilk.
Right.
And I was... so she was on my list.
I mean...
Good signing. I mean, it is a good signing, but it's kind of like... They've already been teamed up before.
Right.
And I'm all for reunions, but I don't want people to just become that double act who then go and do other things.
I mean, I may have been a little hard on this one this week, but I was not a fan.
Okay, why is that?
First of all, I think it only invites comparisons to Thor Ragnarok, which will be very difficult for Men in Black to win. I don't know how funny she is. I don't know the tone of the script. I don't know what the role calls for. I don't know what her audition was like. Obviously, she did Dear White People.
Yes.
And she was good in that. I haven't seen Sorry to Bother You. I missed that at Sundance. But I don't know. They're just she doesn't really strike me as that funny.
No, but also if Chris is doing the funny stuff,
she's a fine dramatic actress.
She could be the straight one. She could be
the Tommy Lee Jones. Maybe that is the dynamic.
Yeah. Which would be interesting.
I think that it was kind of interesting. By the way, I also don't think that she's quite. I don't know that she's necessarily a star yet. She's not like a box office draw. Has she led her own movie yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
It's like she's the lead. Yeah,
certainly not above the line.
Yeah, so I don't.
Was she above the line in Thor Ragnarok? I don't know. Maybe.
No.
No, I don't. No, she wasn't. No.
Again, I think Tessa Thompson is a very talented actress.
Yeah.
I really liked her in Creed. But yeah, she doesn't really put butts in seats, and since Chris Hemsworth himself, outside of the MCU, has a shaky track record as a leading man, I thought that they would really want to bolster his casting with a strong female lead. Although all that said, sources indicate that this is not the co-lead. She is not the co-lead. It's not like a two-hander like we envision Men in Black to be based on, the dynamic between Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. This is more of an ensemble piece, a global ensemble piece, and sources were very careful to stress that.
Which I'm actually quite interested in. Mike is saying Tessa has a ton of personality. She's great on Twitter, which is true. She does.
And honestly, that may have played into the casting. The fact that she is very popular on social media.
Yeah. I'm certainly intrigued. Tickle me intrigued.
I'm going to see this movie.
Yeah.
I just, you have to take a stance as a writer, particularly when you're not the one breaking the story. If you're breaking the story, you have to sort of play the facts down the middle.
Sure.
But I think if you're coming in afterwards, you kind of have to put a little personality and voice into it, and it's not always going to be glowing. And if you're asking me if the first duo that I pictured in mind was Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson for a Men in Black spinoff, I can't say that it was.
Mike is saying get Kumail as the villain.
Hey, that would be great.
That would be fun, actually.
I'm all for more Kumail, who we're going to be talking about a couple of times
later,
on this show.
So that was quite interesting midweek news.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good. Okay, let's talk about Amy Poehler. Very happy to see this, but also surprised this week. Amy Poehler is going to be directing, producing, and starring in Wine Country, which is going to be made for Netflix. This is the first time that she's done that.
I never actually, I didn't realize that she hadn't directed.
No, I thought she had. I don't know why I thought she had, but I just kind of assumed because she's so accomplished that she had already done it. I was quite surprised to see that she hadn't. I thought it was a mistake in the story when I saw it.
I think that it's a genius move for both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, if Netflix is having such great success with Adam Sandler movies, why wouldn't you have Amy Poehler? And I believe Parks and Rec is available on Netflix.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That just makes sense.
Talking about
and she has a great female cast there, right?
Yeah, it's a really strong.
Who's in there?
It's a really interesting mix of people who are well known and sort of mid-level. Oh, I recognize that person.
Maya's in it though, right?
Yeah.
Maya Rudolph.
And I think it'll be Maya was the first. There's a video that went online when it was announced this week. I think Maya was the very first face on there, and there are a couple of people who you recognize women from sort of comedy movies, and you're going, oh, she's good, even if you don't know the name.
This is just the kind of programming that obviously Hollywood needs to be making more of. I'm surprised Universal or somebody didn't offer this opportunity to her.
Well, I think Netflix are trying to raise their game slightly with their movies because I mean they've done a lot of original movies that have received a lot of coverage, but a lot of them have not received praise. And I think they're looking to get names and solid movies that they can push, but also that are of a higher quality. I mean, there's one with Adam Devine coming out.
I watched it last night,
and I've seen some pretty scathing reviews. I haven't seen it yet.
I like. There's a lot of really funny set pieces.
Okay.
But yeah, I could maybe see where those reviews might stem from.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's like a stupid way to spend a fun 90 minutes.
I'm okay with a stupid movie. I mean, like Your Majesty, which was it Your Majesty or Your Highness? The movie that had Natalie Portman and James Franco in it.
Oh, that's a terrible movie.
No,
that's a terrible movie.
I actually quite enjoy that.
That's a real stinker.
Minotaurs and dick jokes.
I will take Game Over Man over Your Highness any day of the week.
Very briefly going back to Men in Black.
Like Die Hard.
Black Jones in the chat has suggested Willem Dafoe or Tony Todd as the villain.
Tony Todd.
I like the idea.
Stop.
I don't think that would be a box office draw, and I don't think that would happen.
What is
but
this?
I love Tony. Come on,
mid-90s?
we both love Candyman.
Yeah, so?
Now, you mentioned Adam Sandler a couple of seconds ago.
Yeah.
I was driving back from a shift downtown last night, and Adam Sandler has started doing stand-up comedy shows again.
Really?
In LA. He did 2 nights at the Hayworth this week. He did last night and the night before.
That.
I think he's coming back to do some big stand-up stuff. Either something like a Netflix special, or perhaps doing like Kevin Hart is doing, a bit of a tour.
That would be amazing.
I've never seen him
If he went to Netflix and said, listen, in place of one of the movies that I owe you guys, what if I did a stand-up special? So I know he's been working on material, because did you see that video of him in the subway?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he did
he's writing some new songs. They sounded
New
ridiculous.
York comedy clubs recently, but he's going to be doing more in LA. But yeah, so that'd be great. I've never seen Adam Sandler live do his stand-up. I would love to see that. So yeah, it is first.
Let's stick with Netflix for a moment and talk about the big casting this week. Oscar Isaac coming aboard to anchor Triple Frontier with Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And there's there's just like paparazzi gold, like great photos of all the cast on set in Hawaii already.
Yeah.
And there was like a photo of Oscar Isaac watching Garrett Hedlund and Charlie Hunnam wrestle on the beach.
There's a lot of people who would like that.
I'm sure that there were.
Sexes.
But it's so funny because I always confuse Garrett Hedlund and Charlie Hunnam. To me, they're like the same guy.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're like entangled and like limbs are everywhere, you're like, wait,
this is like Society. What the yeah.
Oscar Isaac, though, I think this is the right kind of role for him.
Yeah.
Him and Affleck is a really interesting pairing.
Yeah.
J.C. Chandor directing. Obviously, him and Oscar worked together on The Most Violent Year. Yeah, I'm a fan.
Do you think Affleck's back tattoo is a real? This
is that all over fucking unbelievable?
Is that a real, or is that just for the role?
Real.
It is real.
The Batman's website says he got it a few years ago or whatever, and yeah, I mean, it looks wild.
It looks awful.
It's terrible.
It looks awful.
I can't believe it's real. The Batman website says it's been there for years and that they swear up and down that it's real.
Really? But I mean, yeah. No.
Like, what?
But also, that's not even
possible?
like you get drunk in Cabo and go like, I'm going to get a tattoo of Speedy Gonzales. If you're having that kind of ink, you're lying on a table for hours and hours.
I feel like, honestly,
and at no point you go, bro, I've made a horrible mistake. Get my ass out of here.
I agree with you. It feels like he was actively trying to destroy his body.
How many people have told Ben Affleck, dude, that looks sweet. That looks awful. It looks absolutely. Oh my god! It looks like
the worst
training
tattoo
day
next
at
to
a
Mike
tat
Tyson.
house.
It's like Mike Tyson and that fucking tattoo.
Ben Affleck.
So I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
something, and you know, I kissed and made up with Netflix afterwards, but Kroll and I were very upset. I would say. I mean, I'm sure Hollywood Reporter was upset too on Monday morning. With how the Triple Frontier stuff went down. Because I've been holding this Oscar Isaac news for a long time.
Right.
The show's Meet the Movie Press. We give you a peek behind the curtain of what goes on.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I've been holding this Triple Frontier stuff for a long time. I get an email at like 8:11 from Netflix being like, all right, you know, we're announcing this at 8:30.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, most reporters in LA don't even start till 9 or 10. Like, I just don't understand like the 8:30 a.m. breaks. You know, when you could have just said we're going to break at noon. And I felt it was very like sort of East Coast bias, which is where obviously Deadline is based out of. And sure enough, they had it up on time. And Hollywood Reporter, in fact, was late. They were like 2 minutes late with it.
Right.
And yeah, I know. You know, Jess and I were frustrated. It's just it's that kind of stuff that makes you be like, oh well, next time I'm just going to post. And so that's kind of what happened with The True American, which I wanted to talk about next.
Okay. Let's do it.
Are you familiar with that one? Mm-hmm. So yeah, this week I broke the news that Mark Ruffalo and Kumail Nanjiani are in talks to star in The True American, which was an old Catherine Bigelow project, just like Triple Frontier. Look at that segue.
What?
Moving from Triple Frontier to
Almost
True American.
like you do this kind of shit for a living.
Oh my god.
Yeah. What?
So Catherine Bigelow was going to direct this. Now it's Pablo Larraín who
Yeah.
did Jackie. Did you see Jackie?
Yeah.
I really like Jackie. I think he's a very interesting filmmaker.
I agree.
And so originally this was going to be Tom Hardy and Riz Ahmed, and then I think Riz fell out, and maybe it was just Tom Hardy for a while. But like, you know, Tom Hardy has this huge backlog of projects. Like,
Yeah.
you know. So I don't know when he was going to get around to it, and maybe they just wanted to move on it or try a different combination. And I got the names from, you know, good sources.
Cool.
And as soon as I reported it, Kroll texted and was like, you know, this is right after Triple Frontier. He's like, now you're fucking
Too
up.
soon.
He's like, now you're fucking up my day. But Netflix, or no, whoever it was Annapurna. Annapurna did not confirm it. Annapurna was like, you know, we don't know if this is actually going to happen or whatever. So we'll see about that. And then the next day, obviously, Kumail signed on to Stuber.
Yep.
With Dave Bautista at Fox, but I think that he can manage to do both.
Yeah.
Kumail. I'm just saying this guy is in like super hot demand. The True American. Do you know what it's about?
No.
It's about like a self-described Arab slayer. This guy, he hated like Muslims and Arabs, and he went in. He shot up a place and he shot Kumail essentially, and Kumail survives. And the guy gets put on death row, and Kumail actually tries to save his own attacker from death row. And,
Wow.
you know, has forgiveness. and it's a dramatic role for him. I mean, do you think Kumail could pull that off?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, it's funny. A lot of people associate him with comedy because that is what he's best known for.
Right, Silicon Valley and whatnot.
But having spent a lot of time with him over the last 2 years on various editorial projects, he's actually quite a serious soul.
I was just going to say, he's soulful.
He's very soulful. He's very thoughtful.
Yes.
He's very cerebral. In a very informed but not aloft way.
It's like we're talking about Mark Ruffalo, too.
Yeah.
These are all words to describe the rough.
Yeah, I could totally see him doing dramatic stuff and switching between the two, and neither being like, oh, well, he's, sometimes people can do it, actors can do it, and sometimes they can't. But I think even at the Big Sick was a comedy. There was a lot of serious drama in there, really sensitive stuff. And when he needed to do that kind of scene, he nailed those scenes. I think I really have faith in him to do this. But I like the guy, so...
Right, like when Annapurna was like, we don't know if this will happen. I don't know if they're referring to both of them or one of them or what, and whether it's Kumail or Ruffalo. Like, they never even tell you. It's very frustrating.
I think the one thing with Kumail, one thing I really want to see come out of his success is the continuing success of his wife, Emily. Because she often gets overlooked, and a lot of stuff gets predominantly put. It's Kumail.
He co-wrote
Emily,
the script.
Yeah, he co-wrote the script with her. She is a fiercely intelligent woman, and again, a really lovely person. I really hope that Hollywood doesn't sort of keep her on in a different path or not give her the same highlight, because they're a powerhouse.
First of all, I think she's going to get plenty of writing assignments on her own. Where it's not
which is great.
Yeah, because he does have this separate career as an actor, and I think that he has a really promising career in front of the camera,
100%.
as well as behind.
Yeah.
It's whatever he wants to pursue.
But I just want to see Hollywood support both of them. I don't, I think
that they are.
I really
that Oscar nomination for both of them speaks volumes. I like the idea though of Ruffalo getting his hands dirty with a role like this, because he's often kind of a gentle guy. I know he plays the Hulk.
Yeah,
but
still, that's like an alter ego.
Right.
So
I hope that True American comes together in that iteration.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And Tom Hardy and Riz would have been great. And if one of them ends up sticking with the project, we'll see. But I think Ruffalo and Kumail is a really interesting pairing. Same with Kumail and Batista and in Stuber. So do you know what that one's about?
No.
That's about like an Uber driver who sort of gets sucked into like this action movie.
So it's kind of like
Collateral, almost.
Collateral with
a comedic
the right
bent.
service.
Yeah, exactly.
Collateral's not a comedy?
That's another Ruffalo movie. Oh my God! Holy shit!
Yeah, no, I like the idea of that.
And the guy's name is Stu, and he drives for Uber. Do you get it, Stuber? Because every time I write Stuber, I'm thinking Scott Stuber, who's the head of Netflix. Oh my God, it's all coming. Our last three stories are just so connected. There's so many layers.
It's lucky though, because if his name was like Lionel, then he'd be Luber,
Lionel.
And everybody would be googling Luber on their work laptops, and then IT would get upset, and you'd have to have Safe Search on.
You know what? Let's take a little break for a box office update.
Okay, box office update. Dude, we should have a jingle for that. Okay, movies coming out. Yeah, that was actually pretty good.
It was. It was probably annoying as fuck for you guys, though.
Duplo is going to sign us up to do some stuff with him. He's a DJ, isn't he?
We're actually Daft Punk. We're the guys in the suits.
Yeah.
Take the helmets off. It's us.
More like ass punk.
I don't know.
Okay, so Pacific. That was smooth. Pacific Rim Uprising is probably the biggest release. Rim. There are lots of movies with Rim in the title right now. Rim of the World, which sounds like a pornographic competition.
I can break exclusive news on that project, by the way. That title will be changing.
Okay. I'm looking forward to finding out what it would be.
It will not be called Rim of the World, that's for sure.
Fisting of the Planet. Okay, Thursday, Pacific Rim Uprising in previews took 2.4 million. Weekend, we're looking at 22 to 29 million, which is quite a wide thing. I don't know if it's going to do that. I think 22, maybe 25. I think that is going to be kind of the margin. The original Pacific Rim opened with 37 million. That's unadjusted. Sherlock Gnomes, the Romeo and Juliet sequel that nobody has been waiting for.
Nobody
has been waiting for. Nobody. Is opening this weekend. It didn't have Thursday previews. It's expecting to come in at about 13 to 18 million, which is fine, but I wouldn't think it was going to bother. Isle of Dogs is also getting a release this weekend. It'll be interesting to see what that is going to bring in. It looks like Pacific Rim is going to take the top. Black Panther is probably going to slip to number 2, which is 15 to 18 million this weekend. It's already taken an insane amount of money. It's like 600 and something million, 634 million, I think. Something.
It's going to become the highest grossing superhero movie real soon, I think.
It's doing phenomenally well. I think easily because audiences are still going to see Black Panther, either repeat viewings or people who have just kind of held off and gone, and they've kind of relented.
I'm fascinated.
They've been worn down.
Whether Infinity War will top it. I don't think that it will.
I don't know if it will.
Yeah, which is amazing to have, like, if you had predicted that years ago.
I would have put it quite close, but I would have said sort of within about 200 million that I would have put Infinity War above Black Panther. But this is a Duracell bunny. This is not showing any signs.
It's really dropping. It's fucking remarkable.
Yeah, I mean the week on week drop-offs in this movie are the wet dream of exhibitors. You know, it's like 10s. It's not,
it's getting people into theaters who would never really otherwise go to the movies. Yeah. That's what it is.
It's wildly accessible, and I'm glad they're turning out and getting something that's actually worth turning out. So they're not going, oh, actually, the hype wasn't worth it. But yeah, so Black Panther, I think, is still doing phenomenally well.
Were you impressed last week with I Can Only Imagine?
Yes, I was.
It did like 17 or 18 million. That's ridiculous.
Considerably more. I thought that was going to be like a 10 million. I mean, it was not a movie. I'm not really into the big Kristian sort of movie scene stuff. And I mean, I saw the trailer and I thought it looked quite bad. Mm-hmm. I thought it looked very cliched. I thought some of the Dennis Quaid stuff, I was like, oh my god, this is like a spoof. But yeah, it obviously hit a chord, and it's done considerably. I think it's one of the most successful. If you count The Shack as a Kristian movie, I think it was more of a spiritual movie.
Right.
I think it surpassed that, and it's probably the biggest domestic since I think God's Not Dead, which was 4 or 5 years ago now. So yeah, I'm very surprised, but clearly, I think part of the appeal is the fact that even though it's obviously it's going for the Kristian film market, I think there was enough in there to draw in additional crowds, and I think sometimes there isn't that with a lot of these movies. So I think that really, really helped with the appeal. But yeah, I was surprised.
Okay,
it did about twice what I thought it was going to do. But there you go. You never know with these things.
What else is opening? Did you say what Unsane is looking at?
No, I didn't have figures for Unsane. And Isle of Dogs, I don't have any stats. But Isle of Dogs, I'm going to see that on Sunday. I haven't seen that, unfortunately.
Okay, so I got to talk about these movies.
Okay,
I know you haven't seen them, but
I couldn't go and see Pacific Rim because I was
Isle of Dogs was fine.
Yeah.
I thought the animation is truly gorgeous. Like the stop motion is just breathtaking. There's been some cries of cultural insensitivity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't really see what could have been offensive necessarily in the movie, but I that's my white privilege coming through. That's my perspective. It was my least favorite Wes Anderson movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'd give the edge to Fantastic Mr. Fox in terms of the stop motion stuff. Were you a big fan of that one?
I thought it was fine. I didn't love it.
I don't think he's made a bad movie, Wes Anderson. I really like all of his stuff.
But some are less good than others.
But yeah, if you're telling, I don't see how you can put one of these animated movies over one of the live action movies.
Yeah.
It's just a different thing.
Like I say, I'm going to go see it on Sunday because my wife's a big Wes Anderson fan. So
no, and I think people should see it. For me, it was just a story thing. The voices were all really good. I saw Unsane as well. That was disappointing.
Cool. Oh, yeah. Well, I've seen... It seems to be splitting people.
Yeah, some people think it's brilliant. I talked to Perry Nemiroff at Collider, and she really fell for it.
Yeah, and I've seen people then saying, oh my god, it's a terrible mess. I'm like...
Yeah, Drew didn't care for it. Read his review over at the tracking board, along with his Pacific Rim review. EW didn't like it.
I saw that.
I just it's an interesting failure, as Steven Soderbergh's often are.
Yeah.
It's definitely watchable, but it's just not that satisfying. And Claire Foy, do you watch The Crown?
No.
So
Which people are amazed because I'm British, but it's like...
I've never seen The Crown. I've never seen Claire Foy before. If she'd walked in front of me before this week, I wouldn't recognize her.
I think that's fair.
And I just didn't love the performance. It was, I mean, she's playing like a hysterical person, but the performance was like hysterical too.
Right, so unrefined.
I've heard good things about her performance as Lisbeth, because she's the girl in the spider web. She's taking over the role from Rooney Mara and Numi.
Yes.
So we'll see. The jury's still out on Claire Foy, but Unsane probably could have been she could have gotten a better vehicle for that first impression.
Yeah. Let's just check. Okay, I've got some figures on Unsane. That's looking at opening in about 10. This is according to Box Office Mojo. Unsane is due to take about 3.5 million. Didn't have Thursday previews.
3 to 5.
It's going to open below Paul Apostle of Christ, which is looking at 4.3 million, which is another opening this week. The Isle of Dogs is going to open in 27 locations, including LA, New York, Washington, San Francisco.
Release.
Yes, so
isn't Midnight Sun getting a big release, like a wide release? Midnight Sun.
Midnight Sun, yeah, that is getting 2,170.
I'm not going to see that, but like, guys,
it's going to debut around like
I just love
4 to 6 million.
I love Bella Thorne,
so
I just love her.
Apparently, but Box Office Mojo is saying they expect it to open more in the region of 2. Which is still, and that's outside the top 10 by quite some margin. So
my girl Bella Thorne sings in this movie.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I like Bella Thorne.
She's
pretty cool.
I'm not going to see Pacific Rim.
I was due to go to a screening on Tuesday and I couldn't because I was away in Austin, and then I was due to see Sherlock Gnomes on Wednesday for review, and I couldn't do that because it was my wedding anniversary. So
some people really are really liking Pacific Rim.
Yeah,
they're saying that it
which I'm quite surprised by.
Yeah.
I didn't like Pacific Rim.
It's mixed. The movie that I did want to talk about real quickly, which I can talk about just because it played at South by, A Quiet Place. John Krasinski. Holy moly.
I really want to see this.
Dude, this fucking movie's for real.
Even my wife wants to see this, and she doesn't like horror.
Yeah, this is a really good movie.
Yeah.
I saw it this week. I'm talking to the writers in a couple of hours. Thumbs up. Definitely go check out A Quiet Place when you can.
I want to go and see it at a press preview because I think everyone will be quiet. I think the worst thing is going to watch it with a paying audience sometimes, and people who don't shut the fuck up and are wrinkling their packets. And I just want to go into that movie theater. I want to have a really nice theater, and I want that. Preferably, it'll be quite empty. I'm going to try and get a daytime.
Sound is obviously very important.
Yeah,
in it,
I want to literally soak it all in to the point of pooping my pants.
All right, let's talk about some trailers that broke this week. There was a lot of them. Deadpool 2. What'd you think?
Okay, I'm really looking forward to Deadpool 2. I'm hoping they go along the line they did with the first one, where the punchlines in the movie and in the trailer are not the ones they use in the movie, because I think there's a lot of great puns and jokes in the trailer, and I'm like, that'll spoil it for me if they're the ones in the final movie. I'm psyched for this. I think there's a lot of this new trailer. There's a lot of stuff in there that I'm like, yeah, really, really good. The problem for me is it formulaically seems a little bit by the book and kind of doing greatest hits kind of interaction stuff. But I'm super psyched about Cable. I'm looking forward to X-Force. And I hope the action set pieces really bring it in the way that they appear to. I am psyched for this movie. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm just a little bit worried that it's not going to be quite as good.
Were you a big fan of the original?
Yeah, I really like the original.
Yeah, I didn't love the original Deadpool. You know, it was fun. It did some cool things.
It was very different, and I'm just to rebottle that genie.
The story just was really simple, and it left me wanting. So Deadpool 2, I think, looks really fun and fresh, and probably better than the original. A little bit more confident, but.
My fear is that it seems a little bit overstuffed because there's a lot of characters in there.
Yeah, I just want to see what the story is. Like, it sounds like it's going to involve hunting down the kid from Hunt for the Wilder People, who's great, Julian Dennison. Which is fine. Sounds cool to me.
And I'm okay with that really simple plot, but as long as they can flesh it out with stuff that really adds some richness to it. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's certainly one of the ones I'm most trying to chase.
Under the Silver Lake. Did you see that one?
I did.
Andrew Garfield.
I didn't think I was going to like that. I actually really like that trailer.
I'm definitely interested. I'm curious, although I thought it was going to be dark. I didn't realize it was going to be like a kind of like a stoner comedy or something. Like it felt like it had this inherent vice, this Shaggy Dog mystery vibe. I thought Under the Silver Lake was going to be like a dark noir thriller, and it sounds like Almost feels like Brick a little.
Yeah, fair comparison, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Also, I don't know if you saw it. Did you see Tag?
Yep.
What do you think about that?
I actually think it looked like a stupid fun movie.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I was really surprised. When I heard the premise, I was like, I don't know about that. But
It's a
that
good
trailer,
story.
I'm
Like, the story has heart. Like a group of guys who've been playing fucking tag for 30 years. It's great.
I mean, I thought the stories made into a movie could go one of two ways, and it looks like it's gone the best of the two ways.
I think who's the star of it? Is it Ed Helms?
I always get Ed Helms and Jason Sudeikis.
I thought it would be Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner he's the one that is being pushed out there.
Yeah, I don't know that he's the star.
I'm tickled. I think that could be a big. When did that come out? Like it's
probably early
right?
June. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like it needed like a big comedy star to anchor it, like a Will Ferrell or Jack Black or.
I saw Will Ferrell yesterday when I was having a breakfast meeting. He says hi.
Wonderful.
He doesn't. I made that up.
Did you see the Melissa McCarthy one? Can You Ever Forgive Me?
No, I haven't seen that.
That looks good. She's like a forger.
Okay.
Lee Israel, who's forges celebrity letters. Did you see Day of the Soldado and that title change?
Yes.
What do you think of that? Day of the Soldado. Is that like Day of the Jackal?
I just thought Soldado was fine.
Nobody knows what soldado means, anyways.
It's soldier.
Soldier, yeah.
Soldier.
There you go.
Day of the Soldier?
That makes sense. Soldado.
Yeah, but it still doesn't sound
I'm
great.
guessing it's a play on words of Day of the Dead.
Day of the Soldier.
Well, I mean, it might be, but I don't
know. There's a lot of
Day of the Soldier just sounds like a Wesley Snipes straight to VOD.
I don't know. It looks
movie.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to
The movie looks
say
great.
shit.
The title sounds shit.
The Spy Who Dumped Me.
Yeah. That looks super dumb. I
like that pairing of
okay
Mila
with that.
Kunis and Kate McKinnon.
I love Kate McKinnon.
Yeah,
I do love her.
that looked like a
Mila,
spy knockoff.
Yeah, it does. But I got a soft spot for Mila Kunis, even though I didn't like the Big Bad Mom's Christmas.
The best trailer of the week, I think, undoubtedly. And this is up against Deadpool 2 and everything.
Yeah.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Yeah.
Holy shit. That movie looked amazing.
Yeah. When I was in Pittsburgh the other week, I actually went to, there's a museum there, and they've got a Mr. Rogers exhibition. Nobody who I was with knew what Mr. Rogers was, but you got to see like a bit of the set, and there's bits of all the other stuff. It's pretty cool. I like Mr. Rogers' name.
I grew up on Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
That movie was at Sundance. Drew saw it. He said it was unbelievable.
Oh, cool. I'm really psyched.
I was tearing up at the trailer. I don't know how you could watch the trailer and not tear up. It was just, it is...
Gives you the warm and fuzzies.
Mr. Rogers is what the world needs right now, folks. All right, that'll do it for trailers. Let's get back to the news.
Did you also see the one with Johnny Knoxville?
Action Point?
Yeah.
I actually did not watch that one.
You should watch that.
I had seen it at CinemaCon, right? I think like a reel for it. Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to do, but I kind of like Johnny Knoxville.
It's like a Looney Tunes episode with Johnny Knoxville.
I like it. It's
that's all.
dumb. I think we need some dumb movies.
I love the Jackass movies are brilliant.
Yeah,
so.
they are. Amen to that.
All right, Rampage. What's that tracking at, Simon?
Well, this week, I mean, we all know that tracking is kind of sometimes unpredictable. It's looking
and
at
we're pretty far out.
Yeah, 35 million. It's looking at opening weekend domestic. So just to give you some context for that, it's lower than Jumanji. Jumanji was 36 million. So let's look at the biggest opening weekends for Dwayne Johnson movies. Biggest opening is Furious 7, 147.2. Then you've got some of the other Fast and Furious. Moana comes in at 6, which was 56.6 million. San Andreas, which is fair to compare it to that, same
50-something,
54.6. G.I. Joe Retaliation, so we're already getting quite low down the list, 40. Then Get Smart, which was not considered a hit, 38.6. Then Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Scorpion King was 36.05, so it comes in basically below Jumanji, below Scorpion King, and below Central Intelligence.
What's amazing about that, though, is that Jumanji is now his number 2 movie. So Jumanji jumped up that list from like 9 to 2.
That's only its 10th biggest opening weekend, and it was considered to be quite strong.
So Rampage not tracking as strong as you might think.
Rampage is tracking, just below Central Intelligence, but above Hercules, which is 29.8, which was considered a flat. So this is really, we're looking at about sort of 13th, 14th biggest opening for for Dwayne Johnson. It'll be interesting to see how this performs. I think of the summer, I think Skyscraper's going to be the one that's really going to be the winner for Dwayne.
Yes.
I think this is going to be a little bit of a Baywatch for him. But I'm kind of curious to see it. It's not a film that I'm particularly excited about, and I loved the game growing up. It's just the trailers have not really won me over. I'm not feeling it.
I kind of agree with you on that.
Okay.
Yeah. 35. It all depends on what the budget is. Again, you know, if they spent 90 on this, it's different than if they spent 150.
Let's see. Actually, let me just see if I can find out what's the. He's also got Fighting with the Family coming out this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see what the budget is on this, unfortunately. But I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Fighting with the Family, I believe, is an MGM movie.
It is.
MGM firing its boss this week.
Yes.
Gary Barber.
Nice segue.
I know.
That's super smooth.
Thank you.
Oh wow.
I was looking for an
On
opening.
it.
Did you ever have any dealings with Gary Barber?
Never personally, no.
Yeah, I may have dealt with him once or twice when I was at Variety, but you know, he definitely had a reputation. Like, he came in and saved MGM.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that much is a fact. That company was on the brink of extinction, and he rescued it and whipped it into shape and got it ready for a sale. And now, there's just like this disagreement about where to take the company from here. So we'll see who ends up running MGM and what they end up doing. Apparently, the board wants them to take bigger swings. The only big swings they really take are the Bond movies.
Yeah.
Which they still don't have a studio and international release partner for.
No. Maybe the fact that Danny Boyle's on board, we discussed last week, will actually maybe help with that. We'll see.
Yeah, they got to wait for that script to come in. Elsewhere, Predator being converted to 3D, Simon?
Yeah, I don't want this.
Who goes to see movies in 3D
I
anymore?
don't know. I was literally thinking when I was writing it down on the list today, I know about sort of 5 years ago, everything was like 3D, available in 3D, available in 3D. The last thing I saw in 3D was Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't think I've seen a movie since then in 3D. And I'll be honest with you, I preferred it in 2D. I'm not a big fan. Very often it doesn't work to retro 3D stuff.
Yeah, the conversion process.
The conversion process, for me, it just sometimes doesn't work, and it's gimmicky.
Why does it
I'm amazed that Hollywood is still doing it. I'm genuinely amazed. But, I mean, I'm really looking forward to The Predator, but I'll be seeing it in 2D.
Always take the 2D option when offered at a studio screening thing.
When I lived in London, I always had I had a 3D TV that I bought, which I kind of enjoyed for the gimmick for the first while. But then I never watched 3D. It really wasn't the same. It was kind of pointless. And I'm like, if your film is made so that it has the depth and richness, you can add 3D for the gimmick, but really it should have that depth and richness on its own. But I'm just going to go and see it in 2D. I'm not so sure about that. I don't know. Spielberg this week.
Go for it.
Doing a lot of interviews for Ready Player One, which I haven't seen yet. I'm seeing on Monday. Going to the premiere. Very excited about that. Thanks to Dolby for inviting me. Netflix movies deserve Emmys, but not Oscars, so says Uncle Stephen. I see his points, but I would have to disagree with him. I think if a movie is good enough, it should be allowed to go on that Oscar long list. I don't think it should be restricted.
I think it's just a movie's a movie.
Yeah. Whatever format it's on, I think if it's a good enough movie to make it to get an Oscar nomination because of the creativity behind it, I think it should absolutely be allowed to go for an Oscar. Just because it's on the small screen shouldn't matter.
I kind of agree with you, and I think that they should look at it for awards too. Like, I don't know why the HBO movies are not, like, you know, they're nominated for Emmys and they get TV movie awards.
Yeah.
But, like, why not make them eligible for Oscars? They're movies.
What if we're gonna have things like shorts, and we're gonna have documentaries that aren't gonna get a big screen release? If they're only gonna be available, or sometimes not even publicly available, and those can qualify for Oscars, there's certainly no reason why something that has originated from a streaming service, if it's a feature of that quality, that shouldn't be nominated. I think I get his point because it's small screen.
Sure.
But I have to say, Steven Spielberg, I disagree with you.
I'm just saying, like, in my movie rankings each year, if you go on the insnider.blogspot.com, I include the movies that I see on HBO. Like, I include The Wizard of Lies in my feature film rankings.
Movies a movie.
Yeah.
You know? I have to say, I love Steven Spielberg, but I disagree with him on that. Big news this week coming out of Marvel that Chris Evans is going to be leaving Marvel after Avengers 4.
I mean, did we think he was going to play him until he was 75?
You see, I would assume not, but it appears that maybe some people did. But we all knew that Robert Downey Jr.
A lot of these guys are on their way out, folks. I don't know
Robert Downey Jr. almost didn't come back previously for Iron Man. He was pretty much out the door, and they coaxed him back. I mean, they can't have the same people. Chris Pratt's going to leave at some point.
It's been 10 fucking years. Like, you're not supposed to be playing roles for 20 years.
No.
You know? So...
I mean, I was amazed that it was kind of a thing, because, of course, he's not going to be like, I mean, fucking 70 and playing Captain America. I mean... There'll be more, and there are other people who play Captain America, right, in the comics.
Yeah, Falcon's one of them.
Yeah, so
if Mackie moved over,
that
which
would
was
be
my
great.
original suggestion all along.
There you go, they listen to you.
Chris Evans. It's funny. I saw a photo of him with a mustache these days, and I thought he would be perfect for the lead in The Force, that awesome cop book I was telling you about by Don Winslow. That's in development with James Mangold, the director of the Wolverine and Logan. And speaking of which, when I was watching A Quiet Place, I'm looking at, this bearded John Krasinski, kind of like muscled, what if he was the next Wolverine? Would you buy that? Or is that a preposterous idea?
No, I'd buy that.
Like, he still has his superhero eligibility, right?
When Hugh Jackman took Wolverine, he was not the grizzled Hugh Jackman that we now know and love. He was a pretty boy. He was known for lighter films and musicals and stuff like that.
Krasinski is
gnarly.
Somewhat of a commodity out there now.
Yeah.
He's also going to be Jack Ryan. I mean, that hasn't even started.
Nope.
If he was Green Lantern or something like that, like if I was DC, I would try to get him as Green Lantern. If I was Marvel, I'd try to get him as Wolverine.
Just going back to Deadpool 2 very quickly while we're talking about this stuff, but people are talking about the cameo, and I'm going to assume that it's going to be Wolverine. I'm going to assume that, but I don't want to know. Do you not think it is? Because I think it would be because of the...
I'll tell you, if they bring back Hugh Jackman, I will definitely be losing respect for Logan. Like that's just how it works.
I feel that.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
If he fucking comes back after Logan, which is a beautiful send-off to that character, if he comes back for some bullshit cameo in Deadpool 2, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
I don't know what the time, where it fits in.
But I don't want to know what the cameo is. I want to go into Deadpool 2 not knowing what the cameo is going to be.
Well, let's make a pact now not to read.
Let's not read it.
What it is. We're making up. That's a pact on Meet the Movie Press.
A cameo should be a surprise. I think sometimes we're sometimes guilty of this, but I just think I don't want to. Black Jones is saying thinks the cameo will be Kitty Pryde or Gambit. Channing Tatum as Gambit.
I think that would be cool.
Probable.
That would be pretty cool.
That would work. In shitty things you couldn't make up that I heard this week, there's a sequel to Backdraft 2, Back to the Flames.
That's bullshit.
Apparently, it is in the works from the director of Apollo 18. Possibly one of the worst films that I have seen.
Where did you hear this?
This was on Slash Film this week.
This could be like a direct-to-video, like the same way Kindergarten Cop 2 is starring Dolph Lundgren.
Straight to the VOD.
Yeah, that's like a
Backdraft's a great movie.
It's an amazing movie. It's a fucking class. It's the best movie about fire ever made.
Yeah.
That's like a licensing deal. That's not like a sequel. No. That's just give us your name.
Yeah. But I'm just like, this is not good. There's also we talked about this before, there's a Deep Blue Sea sequel coming out, which looks awful. It's going straight to VOD. And
back to that cameo DVD thing, though. Yeah. Like, as reporters, I think that there's a certain responsibility when a cameo is newsworthy to report it, and when it's not necessarily to sit tight. Like, I found out a cameo in an upcoming movie in the works at Blumhouse that I just kept my mouth shut on. I don't. It's not worth it to me to upset the filmmakers. I can't say. Okay. I don't want to say what the project is, but there will be a fun cameo in one Blumhouse project coming up. Cool. What's next on your list?
Okay, Jacob Tremblay. I know you tweeted about this week. Joining Good Boys, an R-rated comedy.
From Lee and Jean.
I love swearing, and I find kids swearing hilarious. So I would be very up for seeing such a sweet child.
I know. I want to see what an edgy Jacob Tremblay looks like.
I want to see him effing and jeffing and just what I want to see.
Okay.
Potty mouth Jacob. Bring it on. Face of an angel, mouth of a sailor.
I do like that title. Like, these kids who are just up to no good, and like some mothers like, oh no, they're good boys.
Yeah.
The good boys.
Yeah. I'm very. That would tickle me unbelievably.
You know what I want?
Do you want to? What do you want?
Let me tell you what I want.
What do you really, really want?
What I really, really want is I wanna
Zigga zigga.
Spice Girls.
Yeah. Stupid idea number 2 of the week.
This is your news item, so please
this
do
broke
the
on
honors.
Variety this morning. It was an exclusive at Variety. The Spice Girls, that horribly relevant and still wildly popular pop combo. We knew they were getting back together to do something. They are doing an animated superhero movie that the world has not been asking for. They are going to voice all of the characters in this movie, and each of the characters is going to have a girl power.
The power to turn you on, Simon.
I don't know. Oh.
Did that land?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, if they're like really young superheroes, that would be. I don't know.
Oh, well.
That would be right.
Well, I suppose so, but they're like 50 years old, so
You know,
they could play superhero moms
nothing
at
wrong
this
with
point.
They could do nothing wrong
First
with
of all,
50-year-old
I
women.
think it's a good idea. I think if the Spice Girls,
don't
no, you're like this is a terrible idea.
I don't know. I like the idea of an animated superhero movie with all female characters, but I don't
Think
know if
about
it's a Spice Girls
there's not
property.
a lot of big like girl groups anymore.
No,
Like
Fifth
like
Harmony
where's
recently
like TLC
took
and
a
that
hiatus.
I don't think there's a lot of relevant girl groups.
I love the fact that
And-
our reference is like TLC.
Well, I
Hey,
know.
Grandpa!
But like, it's all individual artists now. It's
Yeah.
like, T Swift and Ariana Grande. They're not like part of a group. There's no Hooties. There's no
every day I
Blowfishes
wake up,
anymore.
it's like, ain't no blowfish. Ain't no crow counting.
Last Friday,
Yeah.
I broke a story about Lucas Hedges.
Yes.
Starring in Honey Boy with Shia LaBeouf. And, I could have written the headline the way that everybody else ended up running it, which is he's going to be playing Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
The character is not going to be called Shia LaBeouf, which is why I didn't write the story that way. But yes, like this script is autobiographical. Shia wrote it under an alias. The alias is the name of the character Lucas Hedges is going to play. It's about his abusive relationship with his father.
Yeah.
His father was an ex-con who was, a drug user and a drunk. And he's going to be playing like right now they're looking for like a young kid, like a 9 or 10-year-old to play like a TV star.
Yeah.
The way that Shia LaBeouf was on Even Stevens.
Yeah.
And then who grows up at, 22, 23 and, he's like unemployable because he's just such a mess. And that'll be Lucas Hedges, who I think is, a great young actor. He's from Manchester by the Sea and
Yes.
Oscar nominated and all that.
And
so.
Lady Bird, I really liked him in Lady Bird, actually.
Yeah.
I forgot he was in that.
He's
but he
in
was
3
great.
billboards too.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid is very talented.
Solid. Also this week in remake news, one of my favourite horror movies of all time, Chopping Mall, where killer robots attack people in a mall at night. It's being remade, but it's not going to have killer robots in it, which is kind of...
What is the point of that?
That is totally pointless. Why would you do that? That's like going, we're going to have an Avengers movie, but we're not going to have any superheroes in it. We're going to have, like, butchers. Okay.
Yeah, I've never seen Chopping Mall, so
dude, it's great. It's on Amazon Prime. Seriously. It's cheesy.
Sounds like I insist.
It's great.
I
insist.
insist.
What's Chopping Mall? It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Okay, wait. There's a couple of other items, and we'll
Okay,
do a
what do we
quick-
got?
Oh, you have to love. Did you see the first review of Infinity War?
No.
Yeah, it came from James Gunn. James Gunn was like, "It's awesome. It's incredible. Wow." I'm like, what is even the point of letting us know this? Like, we know that's what you think.
But I'm honestly kind of expecting it to be pretty good because the trailers look pretty good. So the fact that it's good doesn't
I've
really
even
surprise
stopped watching.
me. But I'm like,
I want to be surprised for once heading into a Marvel movie, but to me, it's just like, well, everyone. I just love how everybody points and runs this as news. Like James Gunn loves Infinity War, says it's amazing. Like, yeah, we know.
No. Well, it's like there was a story. I saw this actually on Slash Film. I'll give them. I don't know if the original story, but they were saying that Rian Johnson is not going to let the backlash from The Last Jedi affect the other Star Wars movies.
Nor should he.
Why would he? And why should he?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, I'm amazed that people are still writing think pieces about it. I mean, I know it's coming out now on home entertainment, but I'm just like, it's 5 months.
I didn't know it was coming out.
Do we need all this?
On home entertainment? But until I saw all my colleagues going to Ireland.
I wondered why
For
everybody
the
was
press
suddenly in
day.
Ireland. I was like, was that like a film Twitter vacation
Yes,
that I
it
wasn't
was.
invited on?
It's amazing.
Oh, man.
the things that these studios do for reporters.
like,
for
what?
what? For like an article on like fucking I can't even.
They're all
Don't
going to
get
be
me
the same
started.
article. Why? Thanks for the invite.
And what I will say about James Gunn is I do like how all the Marvel filmmakers support each other.
Yeah.
They really do feel like
They
a
do.
family, and they're all leaning on each
Yeah,
other
yeah.
and watching each other's cuts. It's 10 a.m. We kind of have to wrap things up.
We
Let me
do.
just get through the bits and bobs of the
Bits and
news.
bobs.
Dakota Johnson and Zazie Beetz joining Armie Hammer in that Annapurna thriller.
Yep.
God, Dakota Johnson. I should just change my website to a Dakota Johnson fan site because she traffics through the roof.
Really?
Charlie Bean directing a live-action Lady and the Tramp. He's the director of the Lego Ninja Go movie. Did you see that?
I did. I covered.
Did you like it?
That editorial. I thought it was fine. You know, I didn't dislike it.
This will be for Disney's streaming service.
Yes.
I don't know what a live-action Lady and the Tramp looks like, but we'll see. Michael B. Jordan doing The Liberators at Warner Brothers. He's going to produce it. He might star in it. He might not. What's interesting to note here is that film going to include an inclusion rider? Michael B. Jordan sort of promised that. A lot of people have been promising that. The thing is it really theirs to promise? There's a lot of legalese that goes into these things, a lot of negotiations with the guilds. I asked Warner Brothers, and it was tough to get a comment about that kind of stuff. So we'll see if the project moves forward, if it uses an inclusion rider. I don't know why we need inclusion riders, because people should just be doing the right thing and hiring the best people for the job, regardless of their skin color.
Yeah.
Okay, Joel Edgerton doing The King with Timothée Chalamet.
Yep.
This movie doesn't really sound particularly interesting to me.
No.
It's one of those Henry V, Henry VIII, Henry the who fucking gives a shit. I don't know.
He was the sixth. Though. That was his rap name.
Elizabeth Moss joining Tiffany Haddish and Melissa McCarthy in The Kitchen.
Yeah.
That project's kind of coming together quite
Very
nicely.
nice.
That's
It's a nice
three
little cast, that.
solid leads.
Nice little
Jason Weiner directing Gawker vs. Teal.
Yeah.
Which is about
Another
the Hulk
Gawker
Hogan
movie
Logan and all that
that's-
kind of stuff. I know it feels like we've seen a lot about that, but
We haven't
I
seen
think
one of the movies come through
I
yet.
think there's like a feature film race for that. There's a cool spec went out about sanctuary cities.
Okay.
We had an article about that. Those are very much in the news, and like a standoff between local officials who are trying to enforce state law.
Yep.
And ICE, who have federal law. Josh Trank's Fonzo was casting up. Matt Dillon was part of that. Do you think we're going to see a Matt Dillon comeback?
I really hope so.
He has that Lars von Trier movie, The House That Jack Built, where he's a serial killer. I think that could really do wonders for Matt Dillon. I like him a lot.
I was having a conversation with someone the other day about which 80s stars had kind of due a bit of a revival, and he was definitely on that list.
John Cho and Lin Shaye joining The Grudge. Did you talk to Lin Shaye recently?
I spoke to Lin Shaye last night at the premiere of The Last Movie Star. I spoke to Burt Reynolds as well. Oh my God, he's so old, but what a legend. Mm-hmm. He was just talking.
That's pretty cool.
I almost cried talking to him. I love Burt Reynolds. But yeah, Lin is saying they're going to start filming The Grudge in May. She's seen the script. She really loves the script.
I like that director a lot.
Yeah, she's really, really psyched about this. And also, something interesting with her character, she's doing some full body casting. So we could see something different from Lin in that movie to sort of purely being the Scream Queen kind of element. I think she's genuinely really psyched about this.
Natasha Rothwell, who's an actress on Insecure, got hired to write this movie Bridal Recall about a woman who wakes up and it's her wedding day and she has amnesia. She doesn't know who she's marrying. She doesn't know if she's making a huge mistake. It's kind of interesting.
I think a lot of brides go through that.
The Cannes Film Festival has banned selfies.
Yes, it has.
What do you think about this? You're European.
Yeah. Okay, that's a great
Let's cut
link.
to our European expert,
Hello,
Simon Thompson.
I speak on behalf of Europe. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of fine. I mean, if it depends on who it actually applies to. I mean, it's nice. It's always nice to get celebrities taking pictures of themselves and stuff. But I think if it's for press and stuff, messing around and slowing up press lines,
I've never been to
it's
Cannes.
fine.
I don't know that I'd ever really want to go. It just seems so strict. It seems like not a fun festival. Everybody's like, you have
I
to
have
go
no
see
real
them
desire to
put
go.
on a tuxedo to go
I
see
might
a
be going-
movie.
I might be
no
going for the
selfies.
first time this year
Wear this. Don't wear that.
Yeah, I don't. But they're doing away with the morning press screenings as well. So that's something that a lot of people, that was kind of traditional. Right. But we'll see. I mean, it never hurts to shake up these festivals. They're always good to
seriously
to make them
it's 2018.
refresh. So
it's Selfie Nation.
But yeah.
It's a selfie kind of world.
I've never had a desire to go to Cannes, but I might actually be going on a business point of view this year to maybe sell a thing.
I can see where they're saying though it is out of hand. All the selfies. It's like you can't even walk
crazy.
2 feet at a premiere. It took 2 months for the Sundance winner, Miseducation of Cameron Post, to land a distributor, and it went to Filmrise, which is a pretty small one. I just didn't really like this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, it won the jury prize at Sundance. I can see how. It's about gay conversion therapy. It's with Chloe Moretz and Sasha Lane. But yeah, I just thought this was the kind of movie that was made in 1995.
That's a shame.
So I'm not terribly surprised. This is kind of a told you for me. Like it had no commercial appeal. It was a very flat movie, flat direction, which is tough to say because I like Desiree. Flat performances, which is tough to say because I like Chloe. But I was kind of shocked that it won, and I'm not surprised that it landed at a place like Film Rise. Nothing against them.
Yeah, it's a shame because I like Chloe, and it seems that her career needs something of a shot in the arm.
You could say that Louis C.K. movie, that didn't see the light of day, but that wasn't going to do her any favors
and
either.
A couple of things she'd done before that didn't really land well.
Do you have a favorite Wes Anderson movie before we end?
I'm a big. I mean, I love Grand Budapest Hotel, but Moonlight Kingdom is one that really particularly worked for me. I know it wasn't a favorite for many people, but there was something about that movie that I really liked. But
I loved it.
I like most of his movies.
I added some postcard art to my living room actually from that movie.
Oh, really?
Like in the movie where they write like "Dear Sam," like when, Dear Susie, where, like that whole thing. I have those postcards.
I thought that was just such a sweet movie. I mean, all of his movies are great and creative, and I have a place for them in my heart for every single one of them. But no, that was one that particularly stood out for me, and it's often not a favorite of other people. So.
My favorite is still Royal Tenenbaums, and I think what was actually
I love that.
Hey, not everybody does.
Different strokes for different folks.
And some people, what was kind of disappointing about this Isle of Dogs one, and why maybe it was the lowest on my list. It's that he's actually never had a gap between movies this long. Wes Anderson, he went 4 years between this and Grand Budapest, I believe.
Yeah.
And so to wait 4 years and get an animated Wes Anderson movie and then have it not even be, to me, the best animated Wes Anderson movie, I don't know.
Such a strong cast.
And we're going to end things on this breaking news note. Street Fighter video game franchise gets a TV series adaptation. Can you imagine Street Fighter, the TV show?
I can. It seems horrible.
Did you have a favorite character?
No. I was.
All right, let's end it there then. That'll do it for this week's edition of Meet the Movie Press.
Yes.
Where can the good folks find you, Simon?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. You can find my work on places like Forbes. There is just a piece that I put up overnight about the Karate Kid being put back in movie theaters with the first 2 episodes of Cobra Kai. So check out Forbes for that information.
And read my review of Barry over on the tracking board. I'm at the Snieder. Everywhere else, thank you again for watching the Popcorn Talk Network on AfterBuzz. Have a great uprising weekend. Rise up, folks. Rise up.
Happy uprising, everybody.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.